Welcome to Piggypower. This is a cabriolet Mercedes E-Class. Yes, E-Class. We're going to do the very commonly found faulty seatbelt on the driver's side. Passenger sides too, but as you can see, very slow to return, recoil. Some don't recoil at all. So we're going to need to get into this section here to be able to get the seatbelt mechanism out. All that trim needs to be removed. Okay, so we'll start right here. Pull in this door seal out of the way. It's going to help us in a little bit to remove this trim piece and clip these away and get in behind. Then there's this little catch which is going to prevent us from feeding the seatbelt through, so that just pulls out. Sometimes you're going to have to little fight with a little screwdriver in there just to lift the lever clip up, which I'll show you later to pull that out. It just sits back in there, but that's how that comes out, just like that. There we go. Yeah, a little screwdriver in there and just flicks that out. We might as well get the bottom of the seatbelt free. It's two T45 bolts. So get them on a cheat gun, ratchet, whatever you use. Raz. Oh, no, I didn't quite undo that one. A bit more. Let's there we go. And then with two hands, this is really easy. With one hand holding the camera, a little bit trickier. You just need to feed the seatbelt loop through that metal loop, and it's free. The bolts will retain themselves in that metal loop, so just put that aside. And Robert's your mother's brother. You've got the end of the seatbelt free. Okay, so now we need to remove the upper part of this two-part trim. So we're going to remove the upper speaker, the tweeter. Sorry about the camera angle here, but you just use a little trim clip at the bottom to flick the clips out. And at the top there's two hooks, so you flick the bottom bit out and then lever it forwards. Now you can do this once the trim's out, but it's much easier to see inside, and this wire gets snagged up really quickly. As soon as you lift it forward, you could snap it, etc., and break stuff. So it's just easier to remove this little speaker, pull the black tab out of it, plug out of it, and it's just out of your way, and then you're not going to damage it, you're not going to rip your wiring out. First bit is to remove at the rear seat belt this cover. Basically, you just lever the top bit up a little bit and pull, and leave the bottom bit down a bit and pull. You have to use your fingers for that. Give it a good sharp tug and it'll come free. There we go. Now the reason we've done that, you can see there's tabs, holes at the top, and tabs that go down at the bottom, is that 10mm bolt is really important, so we need to remove that. So the 10mm deep or short with an extension and your ratchet, I've got my little cheap ratchet, just get your bolt out, put that aside into your bolt tray or cup or whatever. Okay, and then we're just going to remove this here with a trim lever. Just need to work it round to get this bit of trim off and out of the way, to reveal a couple of little screws which are going to prevent you from your last little bit of removal. I need my second hand, I'm afraid, on the Mercedes. There we go, and then I hope we're going to be able to see in there, or not, I can't even see it. There's two screws, two Torx screws at the back, so let's remove those. T25 Torx. 1, 2. Now they ain't going to be the easiest to flick out, so just be aware of that. Sometimes a quick tap, you can flick them out with your little hook, but I wouldn't just pull this and they'll go flying across the car. Get a little hook, get those screws out of the way, and then we're almost ready to release. Okay, now we can start pulling this forwards, but before we do that, you can see there's a little tab there, a little hole in it, and you get a little hook and pull it forwards. If it's a bit tight, just give it a sharp pull, and that releases all the clips along the bottom edge of this trim. Really handy to know that that's there, otherwise you're going to break it when you're yanking at it later. So there we go, pull that forwards. Then we're going to start pulling at the edge by the door seal and work our way across with the clips. Start there, work your way across. We undid the 10mm here, and that piece unclipped, but it does kind of get in the way, this piece of trim, so it's good just to lift it off and out of the way. And then this piece can move forwards, and then hopefully with a bit of jingle jangling, give it a good tug, and she's off out the way. And there's that speaker wire, which gets really restrictive, you see, so flicking the speaker out first is much easier than trying to get behind there. Now here's our weird shape. Going through the weird shape, just run the belt all the way through that piece. Forgot about that. Even though I've done one of these very recently, it's amazing how much is involved. Okay, and here we have our switch, our window switch. It's actually screwed in from underneath, so you can never get it out from the main panel, which is nice. So you just have to push that little tab in and then lift it up. Little tab at the top there, and then lift it up. And that's the panel out of the way. Now, it would be nice if that was all we needed to do. There's a bolt there that holds this top mechanism on. We'll leave that for now. There's another big one there, so there's big T45s. There's one hidden down the bottom there. Here's our little shooty forwards and backwards clippy thing. I do love that design. If only it kind of like there was two of them, one at the top, one at the bottom. That would be alright, wouldn't it? But there's loads of these other screws. Right, Mercedes could have obviously made this really easy for everyone. Had some access for the bolt, little panel, or just used familiar clips for everything. But those little menaces. Here we have a T30 machine bolt screw. And because they just want to mix it up a bit, here's one of those little trim raw plugs. So you take the centerpiece out, which looks like that. And then you take the sort of raw plug side of that part out. A little screwdriver will do the job, but these little trim clip removal tools are really handy for that. That gets that out of the way. There's a couple of poppers here which I need to give a sharp pull on, like that. There's also a couple here which you need to do the same thing with as you did on these. The scary pull, like that. Sounds like plastic's breaking. Lifting this slightly will help release the bottom of this, like that. And it's a case of basically manhandling this out. Hard to show on camera if I'm totally honest. There we go. And she's out. There we go. That's it. I know the lighting's not great, but that's that complete panel. Here's your seatbelt mechanism. One bolt, one bolt, one bolt. So let us release these bolts from their concentrate. That's smashing the window, preferably, obviously. What we had to do is remove screws left, right and centre of different sizes, threads, heads. All because Mercedes thought, you know what, we won't use a company who makes seatbelts that are reliable. No, we'll cheap out on that. And then as you lift this out, just be aware, this is my advice to you, this is a pre-tension system here. It is up to you, but you should officially take the battery off on these before you unclip this, about 10 minutes ahead of time. Just saying. So then this wangles out of the way of there. You'll unplug these like that, and we'll release a little bit of orange, like up like that, and then that pops up like that. So release the orange, that pops up. There's a little bit of a clip here just to get off it, and we're nearly there for a cup of tea. One clip, second clip, come on, get off, and it is released. There you go, well done you. Gonna have a cup of tea, celebrate your victory, and the fitment is a reversal of removal. Thanks for watching. Please give it a like if you found this handy, and yeah, that'd be awesome. Just give it a thumbs up.